Hello, and thanks for signing up for Knowing Your Audience, Strategies for Increasing the Reach and Engagement for Your Journalism. My name is Amanda Zamora, I'm your instructor, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what to expect over the next 4 weeks. So the first module in the first week is going to be a little bit of table setting. We're going to do some investigating of what we know about our current audience, what tools do we have to learn more about who's already reading our work. And if you're starting from scratch and you don't have an audience yet, we can talk about defining who you hope your audience to be. And then we're going to start what I call an audience map. It's going to be a 4-part process, a document that we're going to build together over the course of the next 4 weeks so that hopefully by the end you have got a strategic document that rationalizes what it is that you're doing, who is the audience that you're trying to serve, and how are you going to measure the success of your efforts. So week 1, table setting, a little bit of research about our current audience, and getting started on our audience maps. In the second week, we're going to move on to gathering a bit more information about the audience that you're hoping to reach. Maybe they are currently reading you now, but maybe they're not. We're going to get to know a little bit more about the audiences that live across these different platforms, whether it's on social, from Facebook to Twitter to Reddit or Instagram. What do we know about those audiences? How are email audiences different, and what do those readers or subscribers expect? So we're going to look at a little bit at the lay of the land of the audiences that we're hoping to build. We're also going to do some competitive research, particularly if you are working in editorial. Maybe there's a particular topic that you're covering. We're going to look at what other news organizations, how they're reaching audiences on that topic. If you're working in product, maybe you're trying to increase newsletter signups. We're going to look at how other news sites or other sites in general are promoting newsletter signups, for instance. So we're going to do a little bit more research about the audience that we're hoping to build or hoping to engage in this second week. In the third week, now that we have clarified who our audience is and who we hope it to be, and we know what our goals are, whether they're editorial goals or product goals, now we're going to focus on how are we going to execute with all of this information in mind. What do we know about the platforms, and how can we optimize for those audiences in those spaces, whether it's optimizing for search or optimizing for different social platforms. But how are we really going to build out a content plan or a product plan with all of the audience information that we've gathered thus far? So we're going to put together a content plan, we're going to put together a promotional plan, and we're going to lay all of this out there in the third part of our audience map. The fourth module is all about measurement. There are a million different data points that we could be tracking, but we're going to focus on the editorial or audience or product goals for this particular project, and what are the key metrics that matter in this case. Whether they're quantitative or qualitative measures, we're going to talk about ways of measuring those as we go. And we're also going to think about potentially experimenting going forward. Once we've measured the success of this particular project, are there different things that we could iterate or change or improve going forward? Like, what would it look like to run an experiment and not just set and forget this particular project when we're done, but to think about coming back to it and building from this work going forward? By the end of this fourth module, you'll also have completed your audience map. So you will have defined your audience and your editorial goals. You will have come up with a plan for reaching that particular audience, a content plan and a promotional plan, and you're also going to have finished this measurement plan and identified the measures that you're going to use to indicate whether or not this has all been a success. Hopefully you have a document that you can take back to your newsroom, back to your boss or your colleagues or your peers, but a strategic document that rationalizes why what you are hoping to do is a good idea for meeting the audience that you're hoping to meet, and for building reach and engagement for really important journalism. Before we get started with all of that though, there is an introductory module that you are going to want to take a look at. It's going to have links to our class forum where you can connect with other students, and our Facebook group. You're going to also find some key reading to kind of set the landscape for what we're going to be discussing over the next 4 weeks. You're also going to find a class survey that I would like for you to complete. We're going to do a little bit of research on our own audience here in this class to get to know each other and where we're coming from, and also just to look at survey methods. The other thing that you'll find there is an FAQ. If you've got any questions, which you may have at this point, I would start with the frequently asked questions page, and if you don't find an answer there, the instructors forum is the next stop for posting any questions that you may have about this course. I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you. I've done this class now 3 times with the Knight Center, and every time I learn something new. I'm looking forward to hearing what experiences you all are having with audience development and strategizing for audience, and looking forward to meeting you online.